Okay, so we got the response, total is 30, and then we have to show this response to the result diff. So what we have to do, here const result equal to document dot get element by id, and here pass result. So we will get this whole div element here in the result element. Okay, so then result dot inner text is equal to body dot total. So now let's check the response once again. 10, 30 and 40. Okay, so this is how we passed the data to our API from HTML, and we got the response, and then we are showing it in the front end. Okay, okay, so do you guys have any question, doubt in this video? Okay, so let's try to develop a to-do list API. So this was just a addition of two numbers. Now let's start a to-do list. So okay, so let's go to front end first, HTML, and then let's create a UI for our, but here I am going to take a help of Copilot. Okay, to do list. Okay, for to do list, what do we need? Okay, so unordered list with id list, but here we have to add ally tags, but we have to add those elements if someone adds the task. So initially it's empty, and then we have a button. Let's add a button on top of the list, like button add task. Let's refresh. Okay, and before add task we'll have a input type input text. Let's give a id as a input. Refresh. Okay, fine. So if you want to see how it looks like, task 1, how it will look like, let me show you. So this is how it is going to look like. Okay, but initially it's empty, and then we will have a script tag, script. In script function add task, so we are going to add these tasks from server. Okay, currently we are doing this in the front end only. On click of this button, on click add task, okay, const input is equal to document dot get element by id list. Okay, So when I click on add task, we have to create a new li tag. Okay, so const new li document dot create element li dot text content. Instead of this we can use inner text also. So we can set the inner text of li tag, the input that we receive from the input tag. For example, if someone writes hello, then here we will add a li tag with hello. Okay, so the element is created. Now list dot append child, we are going to append this element in a list tag. Okay, so let's refresh. Hello, add, hello is added, but then we have to clear the input. So what we can do, input dot value. Okay, this is to clear the input. Refresh, hello, added, task 2 added, task 3 added. Okay, fine. So this is happening only in the front end, but what we have to do, we have to develop an API. The task will be sent to the API, and then API will store the task on his side, because tomorrow this API can be used from the mobile app as well. So the front end's job is not to store the logic or not to handle the business logic. It should handle the logic on the front end only, but the main business logic, for example storing of the task, that will be handled by the backend. Okay, so in our backend, let's create an API to add the task. So let me remove this hello also. So where we are going to create store the task, we will use array tasks const tasks equal to empty array. Okay, and here we will have a API dot post and task. Okay, so here request dot body will receive a task, and task will have a name. Okay, if it do not have the name, we will send the error that 400 task name is required. So let me create it a JSON response, JSON MSG colon, and if the task is proper, then we are going to push that task in tasks array. Okay, and once it's added, then we are going to send a JSON response, JSON message task added successfully, and that's it. Okay, so here when you click on add task, I will remove this part, and then we have to use fetch API, fetch add and method post header content type application JSON, and body we have to pass the task. Okay, and then dot then I don't want to write a lot of code, so I'll make it short. Spawn.json. So if we add the task successfully, then what we have to do, uh, once we add the task successfully, this is the then block. This is the block where we'll handle the success. Okay, successfully added the task, there is no error, and this is the catch if something goes wrong. This is the catch block if something goes wrong. But in then block we will call another method to get the latest tasks from the backend. Okay, so let's create another API, app dot get tasks. Okay, so when someone calls tasks, so we will just response the tasks array. Okay, so we'll have a function load tasks, and if you call the task, then we will get the task, and for each task we will get the array of tasks, right? Because we are maintaining the array. So here we will receive the array data. Instead of data I will write it tasks. Okay, for each method, you understand what is for each method. So tasks for each task, for each task we will create a element li tag, and we will append it. Okay, so if I add the task, then we have to call the load task. Okay, and whenever someone loads our web page for the first time, we will call the load task at the last. Load task. So you can format document in between. Okay, so refresh and check the console for the errors. Before that, let's check the network. Let's clear. Let's add task 1. Add. Okay, we are getting some issue while adding the task. So let's see what is the issue. 404 payload task 1 cannot add post. So it's saying ki there is no API as add. So let's check our code. Okay, so we have task. The name of the API is a task. So let's change it to add. Okay, let's refresh. Task 1 add. Still we are getting error, bad request. It's saying task name is required. So we are passing task, but task should have a name. So see, task dot name, it's expecting task dot name. So here when we are adding a task, here task dot name, like this. Let's refresh. Task 1 add. Still we are getting an error. Task name is required. Task name is required. Okay, so I think instead of task we have to write a name. Okay, because a task, this is the whole task, this is the whole task, and whole task dot name. So let's refresh. So like I'm getting error, you will also get a lot of errors. So you have to understand and ask right questions. That's how you will learn. So task is added successfully, but in response it's showing object. So when we are loading the task, if you check the preview, we are seeing the name, but when we are loading the task, for each task dot name I have to use. Refresh, task 2 add, task 3 add, task 4 add, and if I refresh, these tasks are getting we are loading those tasks from our API. Okay, it it might be very difficult at the first time, but when you try to implement one API and pass the data and receive the response, then it's going to be very easy. Okay, so I think you should try this part and let me know in the comment which part you haven't understood. So I'll create another video for that. Thank you everyone.